I was on my LinkedIn feed, probably one of the worst sources of information ever. And I happened to see a post about outbound, ABM, PLG. All the three are dead, according to the author. So I have my doubts, and I had my doubts, especially for ABM. This is why I reached out to a friend, which is one of the biggest expert on ABM right now, based, how you will tell us then, somewhere in Australia, but pretty much everywhere around the world. And I'm happy to have Paola Piccinno on the show. Ciao, Paola.
Ah, thank you for having me. It's really interesting to have this conversation with you in English since we've been chatting in proper Italian until now, but I can switch. I can do that for the audience.
For the benefit of the audience. So, Paola, we both know the post I was talking about. What is the post I was talking about? A post about Sam Jacobs, who says that ABM is dead. This is why I reached out. And honestly, before we go into this topic, can you please give the audience a little bit of an introduction of yourself, what you do, what have you been doing in the last years, and what you will do in the next years?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. Paola Piccinno, I'm Italian originally, from the south of Italy, which is a huge coincidence, exactly the same city where this lovely man comes from. I'm now based on the Sunshine Coast, east coast of Australia. Via a few continents that I'm not going to list right now, but my background is in tech companies such as Microsoft, Google, Sony Mobile, Kingston Technology, in marketing roles, very much focused on B2B strategy. ABM has been around for over 20 years, but I have encountered it in the last 10 years since I've been living here in Australia. I've been very fortunate to work with some of the biggest giants in account-based marketing globally, and they all come from the UK. That's the marketing practice. It's an Oxford headquartered agency that focuses solely on B2B and ABM. Transmission as well, that are based in London, but they have offices all over the world, and they work from a B2B strategy point of view with some of the biggest brands out there, such as Adobe, Capgemini, Sony, Intel. So I've been really fortunate in almost seeing from the inside the problems, the issues that all of those stakeholders, CMOs, head of sales have had when they were trying to target big enterprise accounts in APAC and the Middle East mainly. And that's when ABM really came to help them. Although I have touched a few different subjects and industries throughout my career, when I encountered ABM, I can't look back. I can do other pieces of work for my clients right now. Not everything I do for my clients is about account-based marketing, but if I have the opportunity, that's where I get my teeth stuck into. I am working for myself now. I've been a fractional CMO for 2.5 years, again, based here on the Sunshine Coast, but 99% of my clients are from overseas, and I'm really proud of that. Not to say that I don't want to work with Australian businesses, it just happens to be it. A lot of this has to do with the maturity of the region. It's very laughing. A lot of this has to do with the maturity of the, of account-based marketing within the region, and there are some regions that are a lot more advanced when it comes to account-based marketing, and they are the usual suspects. You have your North America, UK, APAC, falls just behind that. And New Zealand is doing quite well. What am I going to do next? I can tell you that I want to continue what I'm doing with more brands. The more varied, the more international, the better. I do get bored easily, so I do really enjoy the variety of industries I get to work with. I do have a lot of tech clients, but I'm also expanding more into AI, sustainability, management consulting. And that's where especially with the sustainability side of things, that's where my passion is. So if I could help more sustainability brands achieve their goals, that's where my heart would be.
Thank you for this introduction, Paola. And we will touch a little bit more about the future now. But Let's go back to the main topic of the conversation. Is ABM dead? Pretty much everything seems dead since AI is out. SaaS is dead. ABM is dead. Probably AI will be dead when AI will be out at its fullest. So, what is your take on that post? What is your take on these voices? Because when I read the post, the first thing I thought is that is this guy is thinking that ABM is dead? Probably ABM was never done right.
I think for some companies, unfortunately, ABM was dead even before AI became mainstream because it wasn't done right. There's so many things. I am conscious that it's not ABM is not a simple button that you press, and it's not a plug and play tactic. So it does take a lot of resources and efforts and budget as well. There's not necessarily a lot of budget, but it needs a lot of things need to fall into place. So it's scary. No, it's a quick answer. No, it's not dead. I would be without a job otherwise, and I do have my hands full, so it's definitely not dead. Is it changing with the times? Look at ABM. Yes, ABM has been around for 23 years. I've not invented it. It's ABM today is not the same that it was 15, 17 years ago. But it's not necessarily a scary thing for me. Every time there is a new angle to take or a new piece of technology, like in this case, new ways of working with stakeholders, new ways to communicate, new channels. To me, it's an opportunity to dive deeper and understand and be curious, which is, as a whole, my attitude in life. And I don't see why I shouldn't apply this to my professional life. But I'm really curious to see how can AI enhance what I'm already doing. In my practice as an ABM specialist, AI is saving me a lot of time so that my clients can get a lot of my strategic thinking for the money they pay for. I really see it that simply. There are AI tools such as Consensus Perplexity that are shortening the time that I'm spending in finding research pieces, white papers. Those before those tools were there, could I still find those, those researches and all these things, information that I needed? Yes, I could have, of course, found them, but it was taking me a lot longer. Or a team of people. Now, as a solopreneur by design, I don't want to have a team. I'm not building an agency. That's my objective. So, with a lack of human resources, AI is giving me, is providing me, the time back really. But that doesn't mean that I still charge the client and AI is doing the work for me. With the time that the client is allocated for me to work on a project, I can get the quick, the quick turnaround from AI, but then I can put a lot of strategic thinking into what I'm doing. That's one way. There's so many ways in which AI is enhancing account-based marketing, but if companies are not, when we're not doing account-based marketing properly because of different reasons, we can go through them or some of them throughout the podcast if you like, then they're not going to start doing it right now. So if it was dead for them, it would have been dead already before AI came.
I'm interested in these reasons, especially in one. We chatted a little bit about my thoughts on ABM and how to align with sales. But other than the alignment between ABM and sales, what kind of other things were companies doing wrong? Where were the main areas of mistake? And then we will delve into the alignment between ABM and sales.
Sometimes there is there's too much emphasis. What's the word? Oh, too many. ABM holds the wrong expectations. So CEOs think, or executives, they think, oh, we have a problem with, I don't know, HR alignment, or with the staff, or with lead generation. ABM is going to fix them all. So if when the wrong KPIs are assigned to the ABM program in the very first place, ABM, it's really important to clarify at the beginning what ABM is gonna fix for that company in that moment. And a lot of companies, they go really quick about that. They think, oh, let's just start designing the program and launching into that. But it's really important to bring it back to the why. Why did we need ABM in the first place? What is it going to do for us right now? That's that. Also setting setting the wrong KPIs and having the sales and marketing not talking when they are trying to measure and achieve those KPIs. Who giving the accountability to the wrong people within the organization as to what we want to measure in an account-based marketing program. Also using the wrong channels. So ABM is a lot about orchestrating a mix of tactics and channels. And if you haven't selected the right ones, then that's unfortunately going to be a failure. Or if companies go too quickly through the insights and research piece, which is the upfront piece that will base the whole strategy upon. If you haven't done that thoroughly, like if you haven't analyzed what's keeping my stakeholders up at night, what are the pain points that perhaps with my set of solutions I can solve, what are the values of my brand when I go and speak to those stakeholders versus the blockers, influencers, and decision makers. So if you haven't done all that beautiful research piece, and it takes time, it could take weeks, then you're not going to have a solid strategy. Another one is, once, let's say you've done all of that, KPIs, right people in the room, insights and research, and you also have done a great work with the strategic thinking, but then the creative team doesn't get briefed properly on the design, on the strategy that you've put together, then there is a miscommunication there, misalignment there. So I find it's really important for me to involve the creative team as early as possible, even throughout the strategic thinking, the strategic process, so that when the brief comes to them, ideally from the strategist, when the brief comes to them, they're already across, they know how you got to that point. Keeping the creative team and the strategy team aligned throughout, even during the executions. God, I can talk about this forever, but you can stop me. There's so many things. It's not easy.
It's not easy and it's a long topic, but let's go and let's deep dive, if it's okay for you, into the ABM / marketing and sales alignment, which is one of the most interesting subjects for me. I'd like to, pick your brain for a few ideas for me and for the audience to get better at these alignments. So where do you see the biggest mistakes done by, I don't want to say companies, by departments, either marketing and sales, when they put together an ABM project, an ABM plan, an ABM strategy? Where do they fail the most? And what could they do to avoid failing?
There needs to be buy-in from the organization. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone in the organization needs to know and fall in love with ABM, but you want some key stakeholders who become your ambassadors within the organization. You might even just pick, typically, there will be your CMO or someone from the marketing team that is initiating this. It rarely comes from sales. Although I do have one example for Schneider Electric, one of my clients here in Australia, where it was initiated from the head of sales, and that was really successful because sales and marketing were already speaking the same language. But I do recognize that was rare. Yeah. So typically it will come from marketing, but it fails every time the marketing team or the CMO is trying to force this new program, tactic, marketing thing into the sales team. So when there is not enough education that has happened within the organization about what ABM is, what it's not, how it's not there to waste time for the sales team members that should be out there selling rather than in a meeting room. So I find really important the training piece, and it's funny. It's not really funny. It just makes a lot of sense. A lot of my clients engage me because they don't even not at the stage when they're starting the program, but when a couple of steps before that, when they know they want to run a program, but they do know really well, but that until they have a training session that brings everybody on board and they start to learn what ABM is, there's not going to be, it's not going to be a success. So there is the awareness piece that it's really important. And it's not enough if only the marketing team or the product marketing, customer success marketing is a team is across that. The awareness needs to also be shared with the sales team. So a few training sessions about what ABM can do to the sales team would go a long way. Also, I think what on a more tactical level, but I think it's really important to really clearly state for the sales team, look, you're not going to lose, or to the head of sales, you're not going to lose your salespeople. They're still going to be really actively out there generating leads or selling, but this is the time when we're going to need them. And it could literally as simply be 2 hours of your week for the first 3 weeks of starting the ABM program. Then there's no homework that they need to do in between sessions. We just need them to come into those sessions. So literally, at some point, for one of my clients, it was Adobe in Sydney. I had on one slide the hours of literally the time and the tasks that we were going to ask the sales team throughout the 6 months. And everybody was happy after that. They just saw straight away, oh, this is what it is about. So they came really willingly because they knew we were not going to ask them for more than that. It was just that time, really focused, and it was really clear what they were going to get out of that. Sometimes just, I'm a really strategic person, but it's also interesting how these small bullet points and the tactics, they can clarify, it's communication, really. They can clarify everything for everyone, and everybody was happy. So they knew what they were getting into. It wasn't as scary. ABM can be scary for all the reasons that you've heard from me so far, because it's a big machine. So that's the education piece. It's also if the marketing team or the CEO could find one or two key believers, ambassadors, or testimonials within the sales team, that then they can drag along the rest of the team. They can motivate the others to show up to the meetings and to do the work, to put in the work that they have to do. You don't need many. You can't expect the whole sales team to be cheerleading for you during an account-based marketing workshop. But if you have one or two key people that then they bring along, also from a more morale point of view, the others, that's really good. Another good thing is, as you start having quick wins within an account-based marketing program, which might take still 2 or 3 months, but those are fast enough within ABM, it's really good not to keep them just for the marketing team or for the couple of people that are coming to the meetings. Internal communication within the organization is really important to share the successes and showcase internally. Look, based on these couple of things we've done as we started the account-based marketing, we shifted a little bit our strategy, value proposition, whatever we've done. Those are the key achievements. So it's amplifying internally the initial wins. They will get everybody a lot more on board, and you will see that other departments or perhaps other sales teams from other regions, they are gonna be really interested if you start showing that the work that people are putting in is increasing revenue, shortening the sales cycle, whatever the KPI was there. People are going to be interested. So it's about creating momentum within the organization.
Got it. It's about creating momentum, share the knowledge, but also, as you say, the building a few influencers who can champion the ABM cause internally in the sales department. Now, and I thank you for the answer. I have one other question that is related mainly to how ABM can coexist, not only with sales, but with other few, paradigms of growth that we've seen in the last recent years. Let me start from my experience. B2B sales, a lot of my leads, the most qualified ones, came out of communities, can be like, I don't know, any other type of community, some creators, and so on. Now, let's put together ABM AI, what's going on in ABM with AI, and let's also look at the community-led growth or the ecosystem economy, how we want to call it. Now, how do you see ABM shifting in the age of AI, considering these sources of lead, of paradigms? Because as much as I see companies are trying to save money wherever they can. Okay. And now AI seems the new buzzword to save money. So, okay, thanks to AI, we will cut ABM and everything will come from community, or the other way around. So I think there is still a little bit of confusion, a little bit of a mess. So if you can help us clarify, it will be better. You will help everyone out there trying to save money where money don't have to be saved.
Look, it's already wrong in the first place to consider ABM like another marketing tool, another marketing tactic. The way I would phrase this, and I'm not saying you were wrong in the way you positioned the question, but I can see how most people I speak to, that's what they think. Oh, ABM is coming here to tell me, oh, do you remember the GTM plan you had? Just throw everything outside of the window. Don't do those sponsorships, partnerships, digital marketing. ABM is the new thing, and you'll have to spend money with me now. That's not that. The way I see ABM, the more I speak to clients, is that it's to me it's a change management piece. It's a whole new way of working for most companies. Now there are companies that have been doing this for a long time. Trust me, those companies like the Salesforce, the Intel, the Microsoft, the IBM, they've been doing account-based marketing. They invented they invented account-based marketing over 20 years ago. They haven't stopped doing it because of the community-led new lead generation and AI. They are integrating all those pieces into the way they were approaching ABM. And you might say, oh, well, that's easy for companies that are that big and they have the budget and they've been doing ABM for so long. But if you are new to ABM, how do you choose? You don't have to choose. You can still use AI. I certainly do. You can use AI, and I thrive with my communities, from my communities, thanks to my communities. But none of those things are stopping me from approaching everything I do strategically for my businesses, for my client, with an ABM lens. So it is a whole way of working, which is why I called it a change management piece. Like everything in life, but every change is in life, and especially within an organization, change will require time. So if you listeners, if you any founders or budget holders within an organization, you're thinking, oh, I want to try this ABM and I want to put some money in that and see how quickly I can get results. Just don't even attempt that. You'll have to be in for the long run. For ABM to be truly successful and juicy, you'll have to dedicate it time. It's not a plug and play exercise. And in fact, I do talk a lot about how ABM is not for everyone.
There is a lot of confusion, and I thank you for the answer, because now, for the past, let me say 6-7 years, when ABM started being like, let's say there was the big boom wave of ABM, and then it kind of stabilized time over time. ABM was the solution to all the bad problems you had in B2B sales. So, okay, guys, you're not able to personalize at scale. You're not able to navigate an account, what they call now multi-threading. Let's go with an ABM program, so you will be able to solve your communication or personalization issues. And we go straight into another question I wanted to ask you. This is the reason why I was surprised. It's because ABM sits on top. We know about that. So ABM sits on top, and then you got this change management part. But on the other side, we have AI who promises these hyper personalization at scale. But for me as a salesperson, they sold me ABM as a way to personalize my message. So if everything is personalized and thanks to AI, what is account-based now?
ABM is not just personalization. Personalization, tailoring the messaging, is one of the elements that a successful ABM program should have. It's not the only one. ABM, it is definitely about personalization, but it's also about understanding fully the people you're talking to, the people you want to influence, the people that are going to make the decision of what IT solutions they're going to buy for their bank. It's about understanding what are the blockers doing, though. How can I map and stakeholder mapping is really important in ABM, and it's not your org chart. It looks very different to an org chart. It tells you, this is my overarching value proposition as part of this account-based marketing program for this one target account that we're going after. Within the target account, there are certain influencers, partners, people that these decision makers trust already. They might also be external to the organization itself. They will be decision makers, blockers. How do I make sure that I translate my value proposition that stays the same? How do I tailor it? How do I, write it in a way, communicate it in a way at the right time, at the right touch point or touch points to each of those people? So that's already one part of it. It's only one part of ABM, and it touches on personalization, but it's not as simple as getting one insight about the person you want to target or the account, and then put it into the AI, and AI will shoot you out the message. Is not like that. AI can help, but still there is a lot that great sales and marketing brains into a room in those workshops can create. That's one aspect. What else is ABM apart from personalization? It is orchestrating all the right channels to target those stakeholders. So that it's not just the actual personalization, but what channels am I using? Am I touching the right chords? Do I know what pain points I'm gonna address with this at what time am I reaching those people? So there is a lot more. There's the whole nurturing stream that comes into place, and what else? It is the measuring piece that goes above the personalization. I think there are so many great case studies out there of ABM looking visually, very personalized, very tailored, and maybe at the first glance, if people are not as ingrained as I understand I am, and this is what I do day in, day out, and at the first glance, people might think, oh, it's just a personalized email. That's what it is. This is how they achieve those results. Oh, they just sent a gimmicky piece of DM, direct mail, and the CEO decided to spend millions on their solution. That's what perhaps the case studies, which are I'm sure they are data based on data for sure, but this is what they show, and there's a lot more behind that. There is the creative element. How does the creative team bring to life all the insights that we have, found about those accounts? There's a lot more that
There is tons, and as you can understand, maybe, and thank you for the answer, training about ABM was one big opportunity in my previous company, in my previous employer. So no, but like the answer is important. Why? Because most of the time, by looking at ABM on a sales perspective, we are just informed about the tactical things we have to do. Okay, there is these kind of top to the bottom communication of what you have to do. No one is telling you why. No one is telling you how this is connected with the pieces of the whole machine that is a company. So you don't know how your job is connecting to other pieces of the puzzle of the system. And this is why most of the time I think that on the field, some sales people are considering the ABM task, or as small as they can be, a little bit daunting, even like in terms of time, a little bit like a waste of time, because no one is telling us why. So why should I do that? Why am I spending money? Personalization, but why should I use that type of tool to achieve personalization at scale? Why cannot I do this manually? I've done it manually for the last 10 years and it worked. I achieved my numbers. So thank you for the answer. Now, connected to this, another question popped up, and it's still simply connected to like AI with ABM, because now many of us are using AI to scale, but I think that most of us are just kind of going back to mass marketing with a new label. Okay, we're just trying to feed the machine with our data, feed the machine with our idea of personalization, and we will only create more and more and more emails and communications than the one we were used to. Now, my question for you is how ABM can help in this terrible scenario.
Yes, oh God, I cringe. Ooh, I cringe when I receive those, and there's nothing that shouts ABM to me when, and I receive those daily, weekly, like I'm sure most of you. I can tell there's not a strategy behind it. That's I can tell this is it's a quick action of having used whatever tool they've used, and they might, they haven't done deep research and insights about me. They just fed my LinkedIn profile to the machine, and there was enough. So the lack of strategy. It's the first thing that I see in those. It's a lack of strategy. It's a lack of understanding deeply my pain points, what I would value. So as long as ABM keeps doing the thing that it's doing with AI, without AI, with AI, hopefully, because we can, it's just, it enhances what we do, then ABM is never going to resemble any of those emails that we are receiving. You can just see it. So if, as ABM, one of the keys of ABM, and it's what I do as a strategist, is building the whole strategy around what we've learned, what we know about the people that we want to target. Then the channels that you use, the tactics you come up with in the go-to-market, and then ultimately you guys, thank you, the sales team will go and execute. It's the ultimate product of all the amazing work in the background that has been done. As long as the sales team obviously has been involved in this, which I'm taking for granted here, maybe I should have mentioned, the sales team must be involved from the moment the marketing team, it starts to talk about account-based marketing. After the training piece has happened, that's when you want to have the sales team. The sales team doesn't come only at the end for execution. Apologies if I took that for granted, but the sales team is, you guys have so much knowledge. There's only so much that consensus and Google News and desktop research and Perplexity that can help us strategists or marketing professionals in understanding the customer. Guess who the people who know more about the customer side, customer success team, if there is one, and you. So yes, if all that groundwork, basic work has been done at the beginning, then the ultimate output of the script of a newsletter or for a text message, invitation to a golf dinner to prospects is going to it's going to resonate with them. It's going to sound very familiar. It's going to hit the chords that they know they need help with. It's not going to sound cringy at all. So those people that are sending those messages, they are simply either they think they're doing ABM wrong, they're doing it right, but they're doing it wrong, or they're not doing ABM at all. That's a tactic.
Or probably going back to the beginning of to the beginning of the episode, they are not working to reach the right KPIs. So probably most of the time, 3/4 of even my consultancy-based work, the problems I see is that strategy looks amazing. Then as soon as they try to operationalize it, to put a number on them, everything goes back to 1970. Then I say, why did we waste time if we wanted people to do what was done in 1970? No, but thank you for this answer. Now, I know that we are pretty much running out of time, Paula, but I have just another one question for you that probably connects all those that I asked so far. One piece of advice from you to the companies or the listeners who are really interested in, developing or even enhancing their ABM projects, but don't know where to look at because ChatGPT says a thing, Gemini says another one, and the guy in the other office says another one thing. Where should they start? Other than following experts, should they go back to education if it's too much time? Like one bullet.
I would trust the network and don't Google things. I'm sure some amazing agencies, some of them that I mentioned as well, will come up, but I would tap into my network. And if I see someone that I know that I really trust, top positions, that has been successful in running an ABM program, or if I know someone who knows someone who's run successfully an account-based marketing program, I would reach out to them. it's very few of us, I want to say, ABMers around the world. So every time, which is rare, but every time someone reaches out to me because they want to know more about ABM, and not even a client, I don't even do it for a revenue, from a revenue perspective, but the people, ABMers wanting to learn from more ABMers, I jump on that. Like if we can talk, if we can get to talk more about ABM, we will do it. I'm sure it's not just me. We are all gonna be very open to do it because it's a very interesting topic. We are all very passionate about that. So I would tap into your network. There are some great thought leaders on LinkedIn, but I do understand that you might think, how do I know? How do I choose? How do I know which one? So even if you don't have anybody within your network, and then I would then rely on LinkedIn versus searching agencies on Google, and follow individuals, a few thought leaders in your region, perhaps in your industry, rather than following the whole agency. And then perhaps, on LinkedIn, you can see if you have one or two people in common, and the chances there will be if you're already in B2B. So yeah, just reach out to them on LinkedIn. Yes, it's that. Just learn from who's done it before.
If there is one last thing you would like to share with the audience or tell the audience about, general advice plus a little bit of next steps and where to follow you, that would be great.
Oh, the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. I love the platform. It's where, my audience is, my network is, my partners, business partners. I do keep learning there. That's, if you like, that is my advice. Stay curious, not just in ABM, but in everything. And the best nuggets of information on these wow moments, the light bulb moments might come from places that you're not expecting. It's not just LinkedIn that you might not expect. So always stay with your eyes open and be curious. Where to find me? LinkedIn, and region, like location wise, I'm in Australia right now. I'll move to Central America next year, but that doesn't change anything that I do. I'm just going to do it from another time zone.